جامعه کرونا فقط تونسته چراغونیش رو انجام بده.
752 مقیم یا شهروند.
The language is Farsi. The channel, Iran International, formed 4 years ago to deliver news to native Farsi speakers around the world, but crucially inside Iran as well, where sources of reliable news are scarce.
The only broadcaster which is allowed to operate inside Iran is IRIB, which is fully controlled by the state, and they are controlling everything from A to Z in terms of the news, entertainment, everything. You name it, it is controlled. And it is fully censored news. That's why Iranians do not trust it. They see it as the mouthpiece of the regime, and they see it fully propaganda.
Enter Iran International. Based in London and owned by Volant Media UK, a team of Iranian expats broadcasting 24/7 news programs, but unlike regime-controlled outlets, they include reports of human rights abuses and other criticisms of the Iranian government, which the regime is desperate to silence.
From day one, they started a campaign of prosecution and persecution against Iran International and the journalists who are working here. There has been threats that Iranian agents can kidnap you in the streets of London, or messages like, "We know where your children are going to school."
Reporting a more balanced picture includes news from one of Iran's great enemies, Israel, working from this undisclosed location to avoid potential Iranian harassment.
We actually try to show both sides, or sometimes all sides, if there are more than two sides of the story. The Israeli side, the Iranian side. If there is an American side, that one too. And the reaction to that is actually mostly positive. So did an interview, my colleague Babak did it, with Naftali Bennett, in which he spoke directly to Iranians. And it received more than 1 million views too.
The channel's two correspondents in Israel, Iranian Jews who left Iran, also have a chance to show what life here looks like.
We don't only focus on politics in Israel. We actually make many reports and packages on culture in Israel, and not only Jewish culture, Israeli culture, Arab culture, and about the minorities in Israel, about the Iranian community in Israel.
While TV viewership ratings inside Iran are unavailable, social media views indicate Iran International is having a huge impact, perhaps surpassing regime-controlled news outlets. Inaccurate news about Iran doesn't only come from Tehran. The channel recently launched English and Arabic language websites to expand its reach to non-Farsi speakers and highlight local complexities.
International media are covering Iran's developments, but they are focused on the major developments. But we are reporting day to day the details of Iran's politics for Iran watchers and Iran experts as well. And that will help people to have a better understanding of what is happening in Iran.
The channel is expanding, adding a new studio in Washington, D.C., along with journalists stationed across the globe who continue their reports despite Iranian harassment. Iran International is poised to continue challenging the monolithic narrative coming out of Tehran.